Hey there, Suzette the Marriage Warrior. Thank you for joining me today. And today we're going to talk about the number one reason that marriages break down. It's the number one reason that all relationships break down. Your relationship with your mother, your friends, your marriage, whatever, your children. It's because of communication. Now, this is a very complex conversation that we're going to have because communication about what breaks down. Well, here's the deal. You have to have a vulnerable communication safety with each other, which means there's no interruptions. You're more interested in listening than speaking, than being heard, and you got to hear what I'm saying. And that is part of the breakdown right there. That's why people won't continue to communicate. And so if you get yourself in a position that's not triggering, that's not defensive, then you won't stop the conversation by interrupting and trying to say what your point is. You will sit back in a much more patient, relaxed state. You will give an air or a countenance about you to the partner that you're not really triggered by anything. You're just here listening, wanting to take it in, and then they're venting. Some of the times, a really good thing to say is, what do you need from me? What can I give you? What are you looking for? The person may say, just somebody to listen to me. So then you don't have to give any feedback. Well, I'd like to know what you think about it. Then you have to give some feedback. I'd like to know how to solve this problem and see if you can help me solve it. Then that you can solve the problem with them. You know the expectations. So just a simple phrase of, what do you need from me? Then that keeps you out of the defensiveness of the argument possibly ensuing because there's interruption inside of the defense cycle. Because the first thing we want to do is, when we're being misunderstood or attacked, is to interrupt. Now, the other thing that breaks down communication is withdrawal. The silent treatment is an atmosphere feeling. You can feel the energies of the silent treatment. And it is so awkward, and it makes the other person that's being treated by the silent treatment very, very fearful and feel controlled. That's what it feels like. Like, what are they thinking? Why are they being quiet? Why are you not answering me? And you know that they're thinking things like, she's crazy, or I cannot believe she just said that, or wait till I get her later, she is going to hear from me, or whatever. Okay, it's power. And so that's going to break down the communication. Worse than anything is the silent treatment, because A, you don't know what they're thinking, and then B, there's not communication offered by the other person in the silent treatment. So you don't know where to go, because you can't just keep talking to yourself if they're being silent. So a lot of the reason that the silent treatment is there is because they're feeling a pain. In other words, they're triggered. An implosion just happened internally, and they're feeling a trigger and they don't know how to respond. So it just is like a noose around their throat. A lot of people will describe that like something shuts down inside of them, that they have no words. Now, when that occurs inside of a relationship, you need to encourage the person. You need to say, listen, I'm here. We need to talk through this. Now, if the person is strident and says, we ain't talk through this, I've said what I need to say, then you're dealing with a narcissistic characteristic there. Not saying they're a narcissist, but a narcissistic characteristic of control. And that relationship's not going to go anywhere if someone shuts a conversation down like that. Because we don't always know when we're offending someone. We can offend someone by a look we give them. We can offend someone by the way we say something. We don't know the triggers and traumas of other people. Even if you're married to them, you don't always know it. So when we don't know it and we step on a landmine and they don't tell us in that moment of trigger, when they feel shut down, or they feel hurt, or they feel rejected, or they feel inadequate, or they're just angry with you and want to just get you out of the car, whatever they're feeling, you don't know it. That's what's not being communicated. So when we say communication is the number one problem, those are the communication factors that are missing, that are causing the desegregation of the connection. And so when you understand that about what's missing in the communication, then you've got to both draw each other in. Now, if somebody needs a timeout, just say it. Say, look, I can tell we're going twisted here. Let's just take a timeout and let's draw back into the relationship. I like the guys to do that. If you're trying to operate in a leadership role, guys, I like you to take that role, because the masculinity energy that you operate in is kind of the director. It's the decisive one. It's the one that says, we're going to stop this for today and then we're going to pick it up tomorrow. Come on, honey, tomorrow's here. Let's talk. Those are the things that'll build respect for you from a woman, because you're losing respect from her because you're indecisive. You're not committed enough. You are working too much and getting too much tunnel vision on your non-working hours, and she doesn't respect you because the communication is not there for you to lead and be decisive about certain things. And when it breaks down, you're out. So that's what she's used to. How does a person respect that? If you're supposed to be the leader, how is she going to respect you as a leader? No boss in the world that's going to have an effective team is going to operate that way. They're going to address issues before they happen most of the time. They're going to communicate with their head leaders and execute the directions in a decisive plan of what they want those managers to do with the rest of the crew. That is how they do well in business. Well, those same guys are not even doing that inside of their relationship at home. So they already have the resources. They just have to do it at home. And why don't they do it at home? Because they need you to feel like that you think they're the man and nothing that they do is wrong. And they don't want to hear any criticism from you, because with you, you are their breath and their life. Well, that's not realistic. Most of them are in delusion about that. So you have to let him know that, listen, the way you do business, when you're decisive, when you have a plan of action, when you call a meeting, is how I need you to operate the business of our marriage. And if he is willing to help grow y'all, then he will be willing to do that, because he already has the resources within him. I hope you like this content. If you want more, subscribe to the channel.